What's going on, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to On Air with your one and only rock star on the mic, David Duane, in the place to be. Wait a minute. I think I'm having a moment because I'm just looking into the camera. I'm like, what we doing here? What we doing here today? But anyway, happy Tuesday, June 22nd. Oh my goodness. The first day of summer was yesterday. So happy summer 2021. Listen, I know y'all's about to be out here running amok because the outside of outside is starting to open up in some places. Some of LA, mask off. Whew. I don't know how I feel quite yet, LA, but I'm mask on, okay? No matter where I'm at. Delaware, even if we talk about we lifting it, mask on for me. But anyway, I hope everybody is staying safe. You guys are, just continuously washing your hands, you are eating well, you're staying healthy, and all the other good things. I just hope you guys are remaining to stay well. Because listen, you guys don't want to miss any episodes of On Air with David Duane, and especially tonight, because tonight we have, woo, my gosh, we have some of my favorites of favorites, okay? Whoa. Oh, okay. We've got Syleena Johnson, Vivian Green, and Stacey Ervin Jr. If you guys are not familiar with Syleena, Stacey, and Vivian, oh my goodness. Well, first of all, you guys know Syleena Johnson and Vivian Green because they are the most amazing R&B songstress in the world. Like, y'all know. And if y'all don't know, y'all about to find out. And Stacey is an amazing gymnast that you guys have been seeing do amazing things on social media and just killing. I mean, like this is the perfect show like that I could put together. And one thing about these interviews, particularly that I want to say is, I shot these interviews back in November, going leading into December. So you're going to see some Christmas trees in the background. You're going to hear some combo that is definitely of the time of November, but everything still reigns to be relevant. And we're just giving you straight interviews tonight. There's no entertainment news. There is no Dear Duane. But however, if you got questions for Dear Duane, because we will be resuming within the next week. So 2 weeks we'll be resuming with that, or maybe we'll resume next week. You never know. Send your questions to info@onairwithdavid.com, or you can hit me up on Instagram at David Duane, or you can hit us up on our show page at On Air with David. So make sure that you guys hit us up. But listen, we're going to get into these amazing interviews. First, we got Stacey Ervin Jr. Then we're going to take it to Vivian Green. Then we're going to take it to our girl Syleena Johnson. You guys enjoy this show. I'm so excited. I'm going to be right here with you guys, and we'll be back at the end of the show. All right.
Y'all, it's Stacey Ervin Jr., and you're checking out my boy, David Duane.
What's going on, everybody? Thank you for tuning back into On Air with the one and only rock star on the mic, the throwback millennial, David Duane. See, I had to throw all my AKAs in there.
Right.
Interview because Stacey Ervin Jr. is one of the most dopest gymnastic stars, his coach. I mean, he does it all. You guys see him on Instagram with his doing backhands and just other gymnastic stuff. And Stacey, I gotta say, thank you so much for this interview because, like I said, I've been following your journey on social media. So you've got a lot of followers, and you've been doing your thing for a minute, from the gymnastic sides to WWE. Like, whoa. Congratulations.
Yeah. I appreciate it. Thanks for the invitation to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. So you've got this amazing career. So I just want to know, as far as like mental health, like I know that's very important for me, and it's very important for us here at on Air with David Duane. How important would you say that is for you as a gymnast and as a coach? Just honestly, as a person in your regular day-to-day life.
Right. For me, being vocal in mental health and mental health awareness has been a thing for me for a while now. Even stemming back into my college gymnastics career. It's just I'm a psychology major. I was a psychology major. So like graduating with that understanding and really studying that track in education really reinforced the understanding of just how strong your mental health is on both the positive and negative sides, right? So for me, in my personal philosophy, mental health is extremely important, and it plays a vital role in how I structure my day, how I operate, and how I'm making my decisions moment to moment.
Right. And I know that meditation is such a big form of that, whether it's 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, but it's the best way that you start your day. How
Hmm.
important is that meditation? If we could break down meditation as well, too, because I think there's this misconception that meditation is always like
Hmm.
it's always
Hmm.
that, but it's so
Right.
many different forms of meditation.
Right. Right. There's quite a few different forms of meditation. You have your sitting meditation. You can have a laying meditation. You can have a walking meditation. Those are the three main postures that are practiced. For me personally, I'll go on morning walking meditations or doing a sitting meditation. But to break it down simply, um, the basic tenet of meditation, we'll say like from a mindfulness standpoint, is to really focus on your breathing and draw your attention to your own breath. And why is that? Where you place your attention is where you're placing your personal energy, right? So if your mind is wandering, your energy is not with you. Your energy is not in your present moment. So when you practice over and over, bringing your attention back to your breath because your mind will wander, you're starting to train your attention, which then allows you to then invest your attention into an intention and helps you become a more conscious creator of what you're trying to bring about in your life.
Right. Wow. So that also brings me to want to talk about what we were talking about before we even got started was just
Mhm.
having good management of yourself, not even
Mhm.
time management, but just setting real expectations with, just prioritizing what things should be done. So how would you say knowing that being important has helped you discipline yourself in so many different ways?
Mhm. Honestly, I feel like, especially when it comes to managing yourself, um, and self discipline in this society has such a negative connotation with the word discipline, but it's like you discipline with the intention of progress and improvement. So when you self-discipline yourself, which I believe is the key to actually achieving fulfilling success in your life, is being able to discipline yourself out of self-love.
Right.
um, it's important. It's a muscle that you have to train. I'm kind of getting lost in my train of thought here, but um, being self-disciplined and structuring your day around the things that you know you should be doing is just of vital importance.
Right. And it definitely is. And I know that with self-love and just just keeping your mental together, I know that just kind of going back, meditating was very like something that really helped that, just staying on top of your fitness for you, especially
Hmm.
for college.
Yeah, certainly. And I take for granted sometimes that my introduction to meditation was a college course at the University of Michigan. So, most people don't get that opportunity presented to them to have their introduction to meditation be such a formal training process. Typically, it'd be something that, someone hears about online or from, in passing, and then it doesn't have that stickiness, so it's not as easily implemented. But I did learn basic tenets of meditation in a college course, and I think that really helped set me on a path to really trying to find more truth for myself and kind of create more of an inner knowing, so I could again become more of a conscious creator of my life.
Yeah. And it's very important. And I think what you've also been able to do with taking that from college and applying it to your life, you've been able to inspire so many different people and create this fan base on social media outside of being in the Olympics and WWE and stuff like that. Like
Mhm.
how does that feel to know that you've created such a brand for yourself and just become this full philanthropist?
Mhm. To me, I really, I truly, in my heart of hearts, feel that one of my missions in life, one of my purposes, my reason for being here is to help uplift other people.
Yeah.
And I know that that sounds so cliche, but the reason that I feel that that statement holds truth and has become a cliche because it is used very frequently by many people is that inherently, I feel like we're all here for that same purpose, to uplift someone else, to uplift and inspire someone else, because you never know when your words are going to have an effect on someone. It may not even be at that exact moment, but if they hear something that you say and you're trying to encourage them or just give a word, you might not even necessarily be aiming with the intention to inspire, but later on, those words could resonate back with their spirit and really bring about a positive change. So, I, to me, I feel like it's a great responsibility to set that example, and to not be confined by the ideas of who people may think I am, but to
Right.
be true to who I am and allow that to inspire people to be their best self as well.
Exactly. And what do you feel like is the best way that a person can define themselves? Because I feel like as within our generation, where there are so many different many times where we are still figuring out who we are. Like we
Mhm,
in our 20s, our 30s, our 40s, our 50s, our
mhm.
60s, our 70s, until the end, we do not have it always figured out. So what are some what do you feel like is a good way for a person to truly define themselves? And how would you say you define yourself as a
Mhm.
person?
Um, I'll come back to the second part of the question, but to answer the first part, and I honestly I'll have to revisit the second part just so I can clarify on
Yeah.
the answer. Um, we live in a society where we're inundated with information like 24/7. So we're tuning in, right? Um, we're tuned in to so many external things that we're tuned out to the voice that is trying to guide us from the inside.
Mhm.
So I believe the best way for someone to really reconcile that difference between who they think they should be versus who they are is tuning out to the external and tuning in to the internal. You know, my thing has been, like ride the wave and like catch the vibe. And a lot of people have taken that as like surfing, right? And in my mind,
Right.
in my heart, at the outset of using that phrase and terminology, I didn't even truly understand it at its essence, but I something spoke within me and helped me create that. And what I'm getting at with that, with ride the wave, it is an energy is measured in frequency and waves, right? Like that's it.
Yeah.
So tune into the wave, tune into your frequency and understand yourself, know yourself from that perspective.
Yeah. That's you said it very well. And I love that phrase and how you've been able to actually brand the ride the wave thing, and just from your different videos on YouTube and
Mhm.
just talking about different topics and stuff like that, and then being such motivation to people, and then just giving people that sense of like, okay, this is think about things like this, think about it like this, train your
Mhm.
mind. It's like that, but that's the psychology
You're right.
that because the psychology from college,
Certainly is.
and it's so important, and it works with you organically as a person and what you've been able to do. So I love
Mhm.
the fact that you do the things that you do with
Mhm.
brand and being able
I
to
appreciate that.
yeah. So building upon that on your social media and stuff like that, how important would you say that is, and just kind of like keeping the content, whether it's between Instagram or YouTube and stuff like that, because your content is a lot of different things. Before we even
Mhm.
dive truly into how you got started, I wanted people
Right.
to know that as well with you.
Right. Yeah. It's sometimes I've had to reconcile that within myself because I'm like, man, I've done so many things. I can do so many things, feeling like this jack of all trades sort of thing. And I'm like, I know that's confusing for people, especially on like, social media. Attention spans are very small. And that's not a knock on anybody, even myself. I found myself, just as easily able to like pass something up, but and not connect with something. But for me, again, staying true to who I am, there's those all these outlets and avenues that I feel are a creative expression of what I can do and what I can offer. That I just kind of have to do it all and get that expression and make sure that I can, continue to do me while also providing service and value to others. And
Yeah.
that is my biggest thing. I don't want to waste people's time. I want to make sure that if I'm putting something out there, there's enough hullabaloo on the internet. I don't want to add to the noise without giving something of value.
Giving good noise. And that's
Mm-hmm.
what I try to tell people. Don't sometimes you don't gotta talk and make noise because
Mm-hmm.
there's so many different versions of noise. There's knowledgeable noise where it's helpful, braggadocious noise where it's too much, or quiet noise where you're not saying anything and you're
Mm-hmm.
just riding the wave, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And you started your journey with gymnastics at the age of 6.
Mm-hmm.
You had did that for 22 years, right?
Just about. I did it until I was about 22, 23.
Wow,
Mm-hmm.
that's incredible. And you just were doing backflips, and you like your mom was like, "Look, we gotta get you into some classes and stuff like that."
Yep.
Uh, and I think that that's remarkable that you saw that from somebody else doing that.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, you know what? I want to do this, and you
Mm-hmm.
applied it,
Mm-hmm.
and then you've made such this incredible career where you've been a part of the Olympics and like that, and you're even helping people train, and you've got this lifestyle and fitness business that is doing amazing.
Mm-hmm.
When you think about being 6 years old to now this point, was this exactly what you envisioned for yourself, or did you just kind of ride the wave as you went?
Mm-hmm. So, real quick correction. I did not make the Olympic team. I made the U.S. senior national team, was able to compete internationally, which is still a major blessing.
Mhm.
Um, um,
I'm glad we cleared that up because there are some things online where it does kind of say that too.
oh, no, for sure. Trust me. I see it all the time. I'm like, okay, yeah, you guys just start pulling stuff. You know what I mean? But I appreciate that intro and that um, that recap of how I've kind of come to be where I'm at. Um, and am I exactly where I had envisioned myself? I wouldn't say that I am. I'm blissfully dissatisfied with where I'm at. I'm grateful,
Mm,
but I'm hungry for more positive change. I'm talking a lot about becoming a conscious creator throughout our discussion thus far. And it has been a relatively recent discovery, although I've been on the path using my mind intentionally. I think now I'm really just waking up more to the understanding of how powerful and magnetic your thoughts and feelings can be when used with intention.
right.
So, am I where I had envisioned? Not exactly, but the vision is stronger now, and I'm very excited and optimistic for the future, even in this time of like unprecedented like events. I'm still extremely optimistic, and I feel like people should also carry that same mindset, not because it makes things easier,
Mhm.
but because thinking negatively about it doesn't make it any better either.
Right. And I think it's really remarkable that you're in that space where you're not satisfied and be like you're happy with the accomplishments that you've made, but you're just not satisfied. You're pushing for more. You're pushing for more. I'm the exact same way, and
Mhm.
I want to commend you on that because it takes a person who has made great accomplishments to sit there and say, this is amazing. This is cool, but I've got to push. There's so much
Mhm.
more. I've got to continue to do for others and show people that there are many different ways that you can do whatever you aspire to do. Because I'm the exact
Mhm.
same way. That's why I created the show. That's why I even continue to do this damn show because
Mhm.
it's not it's not a platform for me. It's a platform to highlight those that are doing such as the amazing things that you've been doing.
Much appreciated.
So, yeah.
And I understand, and I return the commendation to you as well because
Right.
it is a service, right? It is a service in service to others, like helping share someone else's story. Again, you don't know when a word will affect someone deeply, and again, someone may pick up on something from our discussion today if it's a single person that is affected, like, then our time was well spent. You know what I mean? So it's like that word could hit them. It's not today, not tomorrow. Who knows? Maybe a year from now, a situation occurs where a similar thing is said in a situation in their life, and then our voices echo in their head, and they're like, "Wait a second,
Right.
this is a real thing. This is occurring not just in their experience, but in mine also."
Right.
So it's a powerful, powerful thing to share stories.
Yeah. It definitely is, especially with spirituality too. So how important for you would you say like your faith is, especially during these times, and then just throughout life and stuff like that? Because you've had some highs and lows
Hmm.
um in your journey. And I definitely want to talk a little bit. As a matter of fact, let's talk about those highs and lows that you've had.
Hmm.
Because I think a lot of people definitely are curious to know what that is for you and stuff like that. Like what were those moments?
Hmm. A low moment for me would certainly be when my mother passed away in 2011. I was 17 years old, about to go to college. Um, 2 weeks after she passed away, I was actually in college, went there early, and that was a low moment for me because I'm not really able to fully complete this grieving process, and now I'm like having to study and have all these new expectations thrust upon me and all this stuff, and it didn't feel like a low because like there's so many new experiences happening that it kind of feels like that rush is like a high, but certainly was a low period in my life. And I think of that in like coping mechanisms, like being young and in college and going to college parties and getting way too drunk, like way too drunk and way too frequently, more than I would really be proud to say. But truly, it was a coping mechanism for the grief that I was feeling, and being more awake and more attuned to that now, I can see that, recognize it, and forgive myself for it. Because for a while I was like, man, like, this is stupid. Like, why do you do this? Beating myself up over it.
And it was
But
it was
really,
how you were, trying to heal.
exactly.
And
And
I
in
everybody
a very ineffective way.
because everybody heals in such a different type of way. And I haven't experienced that type of loss. So I don't know what that pain is like. But
Hmm.
I know from people and having friends that have,
Hmm.
that's just a feeling that we all have to experience. But it's one of those things that everybody's going to deal with it in a different way.
Yeah, certainly they are. And I think the best thing to do when those types of situations arise is to give yourself the space to feel the emotion, fully absorb it, fully understand that, like, yeah, shit sucks sometimes,
Mhm.
and then learn how you personally will cope with it. But that was certainly a low period for me. And I think that is a big turning point in my story where I really start searching for truth and becoming more spiritual. And to answer the earlier question of how important is my faith, I can tell you directly that the times when I have not been plugging into my faith, when I have not been doing the things that I know I should be doing, and I'm doing the things I know I shouldn't be, that's when I feel at my worst about myself and about my life situation. So when I stay anchored in my faith and I continue to do the things that I know I should be doing, and that's not necessarily religious practice in what I'm saying. I'm just saying, like, the spirit is always connected. So whenever I'm not doing the things that my inner voice is telling me, that my spirit is pulling me towards, and I continue to ignore that, over time, that erodes my trust in myself and it brings my esteem and confidence down, thus affecting everything that is magnetized around me. And that brings everything down. So staying anchored in that and plugged in to my faith, to my spirituality, and being a good listener to the inner voice really uplifts me and enables me to provide a better service and experience for other people.
Right. Wow. Wow. You said that so damn well. Damn, gotta love when these moments happen.
Right.
It's good that you touched on the fact that spirituality not having necessarily having any bearing to do with religion, even though
Mhm.
the two definitely can play hand in hand.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
it's good that you've been able to find many different ways to stay connected through fitness, through through meditation, through talking to people and stuff like that, because and you utilizing your voice, utilizing your platform as
Hmm.
well, it's such a healing process is for you as well too.
Hmm.
Sure.
Absolutely, absolutely, it is. Anytime you can share, sharing is caring. You know what I mean? So like, anytime you share, not only are you receiving care from the person who's receiving your words, but you're also showing that care for yourself and being able to be vulnerable and open up and discuss what is going on in your internal world.
Right. And with what's going on in the world, maybe not the internal world, how have you been able to keep, you know, keep faith and, just kind of keep that self-confidence, and then while remaining to uplift people and just kind of have a good balance and then maintain business in itself? Because, what we've experienced or what we are experiencing is just, I hate to say it, folks, it's a little on the iconic side,
Hmm.
like in the
Hmm.
most weirdest sense to say. How would
Yeah,
you say that you've been kind of balancing everything?
I I I check the news. I don't watch the news. I stay present to the best of my ability to my personal reality and try not to expend too much energy thinking about the things in which I cannot control. And I think those have been major contributing factors to being able to remain sane throughout this unprecedented period with COVID and you know, tensions being high in the country. And that's not to be ignorant or oblivious. That is to simply control that which I can,
Mm,
right? Like if I'm sitting here and I'm pissed off, steaming at my house because I'm watching the television, and what is that doing for me or anyone else?
right.
I would say nothing. I would love to say that that's doing nothing, but that's actually doing harm.
Right.
So I'd prefer to just keep my mind focused on the things that I can control and do my best to draw into my experience that which I want in my experience, not that which I do not want in my experience.
Now that's the I'm glad that you've been able to figure out the best way of maintaining, because a lot of people are just, they don't know. They're so
Mhm.
lost. They're like, okay, I know I've got to get up. I know I've got to work out. I know I've got to take care of my kids. I know I've got to do this. And they're still trying to figure it out. And it's good that you've got a good system going, especially with the prioritizing, knowing your schedule, and
Mhm.
making sure that you're taking care of yourself as well too.
Yeah, you got to take care of yourself. You know, if you don't take care of yourself, you're not going to be able to take care of other people effectively or for much longer. So it's very important to stay on top of self care and in a totally selfishly unselfish way. Like you have to take your time for yourself so you can give your time, energy, and love to those who need it.
Hmm. Exactly. And you've got a lot of different projects that you're working on and things that you're currently doing. If we can just kind of give people like a little rundown of what you're currently doing and what things are to come, that way people are fully aware, because you got a lot going on social wise.
Mhm.
We want to make sure that the people really know what all that you're doing too.
Right. I appreciate that. I've been working with clients in their health and fitness, and for the longest time, I've had outdated systems and ways of working. So right now, I'm currently in the final stretches of really about to launch a project that I'm really excited for. I'm not able to share too many details just because I like to have everything finalized, get my ducks in a row. I don't like to count my chickens before they hatch, so to speak. But for the people who have been following me and understand that like health, fitness, nutrition, exercise, meditation, all of that, like that it's of utmost importance for me. Like I'm excited to finally be able to bring something of value to them that'll be a central hub and a central place that my team has built out so we can just put all that information there and build that community out and help uplift people's health and wellness, both spiritually, nutritionally, physically, mentally, what have you. We're just going to be building this platform out. And again, can't share too much. I might get yelled at, but that'll be coming very soon, hopefully before the beginning of 2021. I'm optimistic that we'll be launching prior to that.
Definitely. I can feel that it's launching very, very, very soon.
Mm-hmm.
I know that people probably have asked you, when are you releasing a book? Because we need some type of book series. Since you've got so much knowledge, so much wisdom, and there's so many different things you can talk about. You can talk about the nutritious stuff, the coaching, the meditation. There's so many different things that you can put in a book series.
Mm-hmm.
When are we getting some books? Have you been starting to work on that already?
I have the ideas down, but I have not been flushing them out quite yet. There are quite a few things that I've on my goal list that I would like to get done prior to really investing in the time to create books. But that is certainly also on the goal list. It's just
It's got
me personally. Yeah, it's got to be right. So it's just something that I would like to accumulate and solidify my experiences and really live out my philosophy a bit more so I can really make sure that I add that powerful value in a publication.
Yeah, and that would be great because speaking of publications, you've been featured in so many different dope publications from
Mm-hmm.
to Entertainment Tonight to E News and of course WE and stuff like that. So adding author to your, to what you already do to your, your empire and stuff like that, your brand is just going to really be like, okay, this fits. This is so,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just going to continue because I'm sure people want to know, you know, exactly, your workout regimen, your hair regimen. I see people always ask you,
Right.
they want to know because you've been able to figure out and master that and continue to like shape and reshape and stuff like that. So I think that the next things that you do is want to get like so much love and support from your followers.
Mm-hmm. Certainly. I appreciate that. And I hope that they find the value that I'm infusing in this because I've really been pouring my mind, heart, and body into this project to really make it successful and show them like, hey, I'm here with you.
Right. So I wanted to ask you before we ask our famous question that we ask all our guests, and you can kind of wrap this into one. What are some key things that Stacey has to have throughout the day, whether that involves it could be a combo. Yeah, let's make it a combo. Whether that's nutritious wise, workout wise, whether that's something that exactly within a workout that you have to do, whether that's meditation, and whether that is reading or some sort. What are some key things, and even food wise, what is that within that in that day that you have to have?
Right. So essentially like my daily disciplines, my things that hold me down. Um, in the morning, I need some caffeine and I need some Formula One protein. Like, and I specify the type of protein because to me, it like nothing else does for me what it does for me. So caffeine and protein start me out, help me stay full, keep me focused for the day. Throughout the day, at some point, I'm gonna need some quiet time, 5 to 15 minutes at minimum, so I can just go off and recenter myself, do a little breath work. Um, I always try to read at some point in the day, whether it be 6 minutes, whether it's 10 pages, get quiet enough so I can focus on the words on a page and then writing down my thoughts for at least 5 minutes.
Wow. And that's good. Having that the 5 minutes, having the protein, taking that time to read as well within the day. I think that those are good things that people should add into their daily routine,
Mm-hmm.
especially protein. I just started
Hmm.
eating protein bars like ever so often just to make sure that I have some of it and
Right.
not the other crap.
Right. Right. Protein is actually extremely important for all your body's metabolic processes, like extremely important. And I don't think that people get enough of it. And then, especially if you're trying to make a structural change to your body, trying to make a physiological change to your aesthetics or what have you, very, very important.
Right. And even when you talk about like body structure, stuff like that, like your journey to be now the size that you are and stuff like that, how much work did you have to put in? Because I'm sure there is young men that are watching this, young
Hmm.
women that are like, I've got to get my fitness together. And it may be not
Hmm.
them wanting to, and they'd be in any size.
Hmm.
How important and how keyed in were you to that process and understanding that fitness is everything?
Hmm. Very, very keyed in as far as making sure that I'm consistent. Like that's really the basis of it. And I know that that answer really pisses people off because it's so simple,
Hmm.
but it really is about being consistent. Because if I'm consistently on my fitness, then I will consistently be putting my mind towards the things that are in line with my fitness. So that consistency, not in just working out, but that leads to a bigger interest in what's nutritious for my body. What do I need to do specifically for me? What exercises are important to me? What foods fit into my macronutrient profile? Should I be counting calories? Should I be counting macronutrients? What type of plan works for me? All of that stuff comes with consistency because it's like a snowball effect. Once it's rolling, other things that are um, like-minded start to join.
Hmm. And I'm glad you said consistency because I be shouting that from the front, back, left and right, everywhere for people to understand. You have to be consistent in all things that you do,
Mhm.
especially with your body, especially
Yeah.
with your health and the awareness and being able to turn things off and to implement certain things within life. Because if you don't know these things, you're gonna have a hard time.
Yep.
Really have a hard time. So
Mhm.
now the question that we ask everybody is what would you say exemplifies Stacey as a this amazing man that you are outside of the public scene and stuff like that? Like how would
Mhm.
you say what exemplifies you as a person?
What exemplifies me as a person? Are you asking like what characteristic?
Yeah, like
Like,
what character, yeah, definitely like what characteristics, what things um drive you, motivate you, just kind of like
mhm,
the force.
got you.
Mhm.
Um, I would say I would say it's reaching for that best version of self. And again, it sounds cliche, but man, I get it. I get it. I understand why people are on that path of like wanting to self actualize because it is a journey and it is a process and it is extremely rewarding when you make that step into not just behavioral change but lifestyle change and you become the master of your fate and the captain of your soul by taking the reins of your mind and really saying this is what we're going to do, this is where we're going to direct this is the intention that I have and this is where I'm going to place my energy and I'm going to do it until I'm there. And then once I'm there, there's certainly something beyond that mountain, so I'm going to keep going and just reaching for that highest version of yourself.
Yeah. And that's what a lot of people have to do. Reach for
Yeah.
their the highest version of themselves that they don't even know that it's right there, but
Hmm.
but it's reachable. Just
Hmm.
constantly pushing and driving to say, let me add a little bit of this. We got this figured out right here. So let's hone in a little bit more. And I think that you're a good example of an individual who has truly been doing that. And it's a remarkable to see like you really flourish out your brand. And not only that, but just continue to build yourself and uplift yourself as a person. Because, like you said, the self love and that self confidence has to be at the forefront before anything else.
Hmm. Absolutely. I appreciate that, David. I really do.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, it was definitely great chatting with you, Stacey. Definitely appreciate finding out more about you because they everybody wants to know
Hmm. Right.
about you on social media. So it was really good chatting. And just in case, for those who don't follow you, which I'm sure everybody is following, we'll make sure we put your socials right at the bottom. They'll see it. But
Appreciate it.
where can they follow you as far as like your socials concerned? Like, how can they get in touch with you just to kind of, be a part of all things that join?
Absolutely. You can follow me. I'm very active on Instagram. You can follow me on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, TikTok. I've really just tried to make it easy. Everything is at Stacey Ervin Jr. And you can reach out to me on there. Honestly, one of the best places to reach me would be from my website, staceyervinjr.com. Fill out the contact form, and I am much more likely to respond to emails because I get crazy Instagram messages and I'd prefer to just keep it in the email.
What's up, everybody? I'm Vivian Green, and you are checking out my boy, my friend, David Duane.
What's going on, everybody? Thank you for tuning back into On Air with your one and only rock star, the throwback millennial, the narrative curator, David Duane, in the place to be. We've got our girl, Vivian Green. Now, I know that y'all know who Vivian is, so I don't need to bring y'all up to speed because we have had so many amazing conversations. And Vivian is back with her 7th album, Love Absolute. And guess what? I hope you guys have been feeling love in this quarantine. If it's not love for another person, to be that self-loving discovery. And I feel like, Vivian, you talk a lot about love on this project, and then just the feeling and emotion about it. Like you're back to talking about like just love. So welcome back to the show, and thank you for dropping this album on us during this time.
Thank you so much. It's good to be with you. I love your intro. It was so dope.
I always
I don't mean your intro of me. I mean your intro of you.
Oh, me. Oh. I mean,
that was so much fun.
Thanks. We had a lot of AKA since the last time we spoke, and it's been some time, 5 years. Vivian was and even that album was amazing. So when you think back, first of all, congratulations, because you've been in this industry for about 18 years. Like,
oh my God. I know. It's really crazy to say. I'm like, when did this happen? How do we get to 18 years? This is crazy. So that's how I feel. Like, oh my God, 18 years. Oh my God. So yeah.
I know, because a lot of artists don't really get the opportunity to last that long, or let alone the entertainment business, because it is a business. So I'm curious, through these 18 years, the trials and tribulations, what have been some of the biggest lessons that you have learned from the beginning to now to get to Love Absolute?
Oh God, there are so many lessons. I think the first lesson was this between my first and second albums. I think that was the first big lesson that I had to swallow, learn it, get over, and deal with it. Was I had to demand to be myself, whether it was for me and everyone around me. I had to. Like, I hated that there was this box that I was put in, and people thought I was this one thing, and like I wasn't allowed to do or be anything else. Like, I totally rejected that. And that is the stark difference between the first and second albums. But from the second album on, like, I was 100% true to Vivian. And it's very important for me to be true to myself. And I know, I guess, the biggest mistake that I made in my career is not doing that. But honestly, I can't say it was me, but I allowed, like, a lot of the music on my first album, and not all of it, because there are songs like Final Hour or Superwoman or Affected, that were definitely, I would say, are definitely me. But there are other songs, that I think I just accepted some of the trends at that time, and it gave the album a certain sound, which had everyone saying I was this neo soul singer, and I'm like, I'm really kind of not. So when the Vivian album dropped, I was just really determined to just get out of that, and no matter what the consequence, and there definitely were consequences, but it's so important to me to be myself no matter what. I have to be honest to myself and to my art, and I don't want to fall into anybody's trend ever again, because that's what's cool and everybody else is doing at the time. I never want to do that again, and I haven't. So
you have not. And I gotta say, I love the fact that you have not. You've always kept it classic. It's always been R&B, and if it's not been the R&B of quote this time, because we, some of it is good. We got some amazing R&B artists that are in the new generation, but you've always made sure you've paid homage to the 80s, the 70s, the 60s, 90s. You've always done it, and I think that that's what people have to remember. That R&B started at a certain point, and just trying to beat everybody else is not being authentic to ourselves, especially as a woman in this time. Like, as women, not even Black women, as women, y'all have a duty to be nothing but yourselves unapologetically at all times.
Yeah, I agree. I could not agree more. So as a 21-year-old, I just think you really get caught up in, and for your first record deal, because mine was like a monstrous deal, probably one of the last monstrous deals of that decade, honestly, because
Yeah.
everything started to change shortly after. And I think when you're in that situation, you just feel very intimidated by, and everyone's telling you everything's great and this is perfect. And, you just kind of start listening and kind of just letting the people who are supposed to know what they're doing do what they do. And just you kind of just fall in line,
Yeah.
That's kind of what happened, honestly. And then
back then, yeah.
you just fall in line. And then I was like, you know what? No more falling in line for me.
Like, let's do this thing.
Very intimidating, It's
Yeah.
intimidating. As a young girl, like you don't have your voice yet. You're afraid to speak up to an executive. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't have that voice yet. So like to your point, that was like a huge lesson that I had to learn, like how to use my voice and always be myself no matter what. Other lessons that I've learned would be lessons that Kwame has taught me. So we've been working together since 2015. Love Absolute is our third album, and he's taught me that it's always fantastic to be yourself, but make sure, like, if we're gonna be in the music business and continue to have a career, make sure you're always balancing that out, and making sure that people can relate to it, And I think he does great with bringing me to the center. If I am far left or whatever, my idea might have been left, but his music will bring it back to the center. And that balance is very, very important, because you have your creativity and then you have the music business, which is a business that you want to be successful in. And so how do you bridge those two things? Because a lot of times those two things don't have anything to do with one another. Kwame is great with bringing it all to the center. So I've learned that from him a whole lot.
And I was going to say, that's what Kwame does. Like, he really brings that together for you. And I love the fact that y'all work together. Like you said, been working since 2015, and it's been working. And
it has, right? It has.
And it's not many cases where we see such an amazing dynamic force with a man and a woman. It's such the way that you guys work. Like, I was watching you guys on live the other day, and I was just like, amazing. I just love y'all. And shout out to Kwame, because he always shows love and has always just been this vibrant spirit that is just always filled with so much energy.
He really, really is. He always, like you said, he's always filled with so much energy. He's always the same, and I'm not, so I admire that. And another person, like,
yes, you are, and we love that about you.
I could be I don't know, but he's very even. He's always right here, like, never, even like during a crisis, like he's gonna keep it together. And so that's a balance as well, because in the studio it gets emotional sometimes, and when we fight, like we talked about in the live, like, I'm the one that's probably more emotional. And he's like, okay, let's cool off then, whatever. But yeah, like he is balanced in all the things that he does, honestly. So whether it's just like our personalities or our music personalities, like he's the balance.
Yeah, and I love the fact that you've been emotional with this project. I mean, listen, I got my phone here with this track. Listen, it's just like light up with Ghostface Killer. Like, oh my gosh, like but this single you send me, it's just, can we talk about it?
Yeah, let's talk about it. Oh, you know what? Before we get into the track listings, let me say, because I know that you're like a really a fan, or I
Yeah,
don't want to, you're really a supporter. You really do support me. You, so you know my album VG6 had a very strong point of view. It
it
was
did.
very
I want
strong.
to talk about that
And
too, since we didn't talk about that album.
yeah,
Mhm.
it was strong, and maybe a little bit too strong. And so I knew that I had to be vulnerable on this album. I had to be more vulnerable. I couldn't come off as that strong again.
Yeah,
So very important for me to get into my emotions. So go ahead, finish what you were saying. I just wanted to say that.
yeah. But you know what though? I respect the fact that you gave the energy like the way that you did on that album because it has to be delivered that way. And I think that women who are fans of R&B who have heard that album, and if they haven't, please everybody do me a favor, do us a favor right now, stream and download that album because they will feel such an empowerment, especially during this time, these times that will really give them an edge, even if they're feeling like they need to be emotional. But I love the fact that you touch on emotion with this album and you send me. It's just absolutely amazing.
Thank you.
The amazing and unique thing is with this album, you took your time with the writing, just like with any other project, but you really with this album and
I did.
especially
And
Mad
you know
Rap.
how I did it? You know how I did it? I did it at the piano. Just me
Yes.
by myself at the piano, working out the chord structures to these songs and melodies to these songs before I even let Kwame hear them. That is a first. I've never done that for any album, let alone any album that Kwame and I have done together. It's usually, I guess you get into the habit of track submissions and then you're picking the ones you like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And writing that way, you know, that I definitely got into the habit of that. And I wanted to really get back to the genesis of my songwriting and how I started writing songs, and that is at the piano by myself with a little. Back then, it was a little dictaphone,
Take
and I
it
would
back.
have it, you know, and I would play and go where I wanted to go and sing. And you know, a lot of people don't even know that I'm capable of playing piano. I don't consider myself a pianist or to be a great musician or anything like that, but I have used it as a writing tool.
Yeah.
My since I was 11, honestly. I play by ear, you know, so I don't really need anybody but me, and I just know where I want to go, and then I'll let Kwame hear. Now there are some songs that started that way, like Somewhere. For those of you who have my catalog, Beautiful, even Emotional Roller Coaster started that way. But I've never made a point to do an album where all of the mid tempos and ballads started with just me by myself, me creating the chord structure and having somebody write around it. So that would really make Love Absolute totally different from any other album. That plus me deciding to be more emotional and vulnerable this time, I think those two things like made some magic.
And it's good that with this album, the seventh album, it's a different way of how you wrote and how you structured these songs and then Kwame coming in. Because I feel like we always, as artists or creators, we always are used to doing one thing, right? So
Yeah,
we never changed up how we do something. But the fact that you were like, you know what? Let me just go ahead. Let me sit at the piano.
yeah.
Let me just start it right here. And then Kwame, this is what I got right here. And let's build on this idea. Because what that makes you, Vivian, that makes you a producer. You was producing on
Oh,
this album, basically.
oh, oh yeah. Wait, how about this? Oh yeah, and I have my credit too.
Yes, you do.
I was like, yeah, are my co-producer credits right? Okay, Kwame.
Let me make sure that all the business is taken care of.
No, it's something that we joked about though. You know, I definitely if you write a song from if you're an instrumentalist, if you play any instrument, you write a song from scratch, and then you assist the producer in building around it. You are absolutely a producer as well. So
Yeah.
women, don't let anybody take your title
Don't,
from
because
you.
it's time
So
to
yeah,
reclaim that
yep,
our time in our titles, ladies. That's what y'all gotta do.
yep.
So
Own it. If you did it, own it.
own it. So owning it and with this album, I want to also say that Harlem Blues, ooh, the groove of that, just the concept, how you just talked about this story of this man and just that Harlem Blues. It it took me back. It took me back into time, and I wasn't even born back into time.
Right
Okay,
when Mo Better Blues
way
out,
back,
right?
but with your albums, and I'm stumbling to say it because you just take it to another level every single time.
Thank you, thank you. But you know, that's the plan. You wanna hopefully in anything you do in life, hopefully you're getting better, you know. And I think that's the point of it all. I hope that it's getting better and you can tell my my growth, whether it's songwriting or musically, I think that's so important to note. But Harlem Blues, like I've wanted to it's been one of my favorite songs for a very long time. And I was a little girl when Mo Better Blues came out. I wasn't a teenager yet even, and I always loved that song. I have a true love, an affinity to jazz music. Like it's something that has been a part of me my whole life. My mother loved Sarah Vaughan and Ella Fitzgerald and Dinah Washington. So like this is like it's like my tribe. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Or one of them anyway. So I've wanted to cover it forever, and I haven't recorded a jazz song since No Sitting by the Phone on my first album. Like I always want to, but like some bodies of work, it just felt like it wouldn't fit into, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, but I just knew whatever we did, that Harlem Blues had to fit. It had to fit. It's such a beautiful song, it's so beautiful. And I just wanted to do like a stripped down version of it, just a couple instruments and me, and just, just pay homage to the song. I don't sing it that different from how Cindy Williams sang it, with the exception of maybe a little run here and there. It's
Yeah.
pretty much true to her vocal. I think it's important when you love a song that much that you don't make a brand new song. You kind of pay homage to the original and stay true to it in some sense. So I wanted to make sure I did that. So yeah, that's one of my favorites on the album. So
You lace.
featuring the amazing Mike Phillips playing the saxophone all over that thing. It's so beautiful. It's beautiful.
So, so beautiful.
Yeah,
Y'all
yeah.
did that.
And so many people love it. Like in like my comments on my pages, like people love it. They love it. So that's it. Just feels really good. My demographic of fans. Some of it reads older than me. And so that means if I was a little girl when Mo Better Blues was out, they would have been, maybe teens or coming of age, and like
Yeah,
they know that
definitely.
song. You know what I'm saying? Like they know it like very well, and it just really brought back a lot of memories for a lot of people. Just like reading the comments, it's like, wow, like people really love that I did this, and that feels really good to know that like I'm not the only one that's been loving on this song all this time.
Right. And it's always a testament when that moment happens and you just see the reaction in the demographic of your music and
Hmm.
fans and stuff like that. Even seeing the younger generation kind of tap into your music, how has been that reaction with these last three albums recently?
Yeah, I mean, it's been really great because, some of those people will be like, yeah, my mom listened to you, whenever. And, I love, get right back to my baby, to see like all of the dance videos that people made, young people made dancing in the street to it. It's just like, or even like dance school, dance classes,
Uh-huh.
dancing to
Or they
work.
was getting down with that.
Yeah, little girls, like I'm like, this is amazing. And yeah, that would probably be the first time that a lot of them even knew or heard of me or knew who I was. So that's really fantastic. It feels really, really, really good to know that that I've been able to just continue all this time, because a lot of people don't make it past their sophomore albums. And there's something to be really grateful for. It like really, 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 like I don't like talk about like being underrated and all that kind of stuff. Like people always ask me those kinds of questions, and it's like I really don't feel that way, because I feel like that I really am fortunate to have lasted this long,
Yeah.
and to still make albums that I'm not selling, out the back of my trunk. And not that there's anything wrong with that hustle, because
Right.
it's not. Like too many Southern rappers became extremely successful doing that. But I'm just saying, like, there's always been someone that wanted to do business with me as far as putting out an album, and that's a blessing. You know what I'm saying? Like I know, so some of the most talented people I know are trying to, get their music out there, and it's not an easy thing to do. I mean, I guess now with like iTunes, the way you can put music just on iTunes or Spotify, and the way you can have your socials and all that. It is good for artists who don't want to go any kind of label route. Like you can do that probably easier now than you could before. But still, like some people still are looking for like that, big break or whatever.
Yeah.
And nowadays it's whether it's reality TV or like The Voice or Idol, or however it has to happen now in this time, it's still something that people want. And
Right.
to
And what do
know,
you say to those type of people that want that? That
yeah,
want
and
that?
just to know that I've been able to do something that so many people want to do for so long, it's just really only something to be grateful for. And I've never taken it for granted, like not one day. So
Yeah, no, you haven't. You've always been grateful for every moment, and
I
it
really,
it's a
really have. I really have.
and it's a true testament and a reason why people always want to do business with you, from booking you to new partnerships of any sort. Like you've always just been the amazing person that you've been, and not even prior to us meeting. And I just love that you've always, have kept that same mutual love for us. Like,
Thank you.
yeah,
Yep.
anytime. So I know that we've got to wrap up, but if you had to name 3 records that you want people to really make sure that they tap into when they
Hmm.
download the album, because they have to download it. Like, guys, if you're watching this, I'm not giving you an option. It's actually mandatory.
3 songs. Oh my god.
Or 4 or 5.
Okay, four is better. Okay, so we'll have 4 songs to try to get you to get this album. It would be Where You Are, 1. Harlem Blues, 2. That Kind of Pain, this 4th one. This is hard. And We Are Everywhere. I'll choose that one.
Yes.
So those are my 4. I really have so many favorites on this album, though. That was really hard getting me
The
to
whole album is
and
a
maybe
favorite. It's
10
no
be a
skips.
totally different 4. So yeah, I really love the whole thing. I really do.
Yeah.
I'm so glad you do. It was so important to me to make a diverse yet cohesive album where it just all made sense together. I don't know how long you were on the live, but I was talking about how I'm a stickler for the order for ordering
Yes,
and
the sync album syncage. Yeah.
yeah, like I rearranged that thing forwards and backwards, inside and out until I can listen straight through and feel the transitions are smooth and make sense. And I'm just so happy that people are saying that they can just listen from top to bottom, because I really work really hard at that. And and it makes people, because sometimes like you can have a if the album wasn't in, just say was an order less flattering to the music, less
Yeah.
flattering to the album, you could possibly miss something or feel like, oh, this is weird, this is out of place, this don't feel right, and not appreciate, the difference of the next song. You might feel like it's sticking out like a sore thumb instead. You know what I'm saying? Like, I
But
think
even
order
if
is
it's
so
shuffling,
important.
it's perfect.
Yeah, like it's so important because it makes you're open to everything you hear, versus if the order is not done well, like it could feel like the whole thing is disjointed. And it was really important that it felt like this cohesive body of work that all made sense. So
Yeah. And you did that. And I definitely wanted to touch on that, because when I went through that project, I was like, take this repeat, take this shuffle off. Because sometimes my phone does a repeat and a shuffle on its
right
own.
on its own.
I was like, let me take this off. I was like, something tells me you gotta just listen to this album just the way
It
it's
is,
supposed
yeah.
to be. And it was perfect. I was like, yes, yes, Vivian did it again.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. So I
Mhm.
gotta ask you, when you think about yourself as an artist, a businesswoman, versus yourself as a mother, a daughter, a friend, a sister, what words come to mind when you think about what exemplifies you?
As an artist versus versus who I'm in my personal life,
Or both? Yeah.
or both.
Yeah.
Perseverance, I think, is very important. I'll apply this to both sides of my life. To You got to have that to do this for as long as I've done it. You got to have it. You're not going to survive if you don't have that. If you can't push through the valleys, you're gonna crash. So perseverance is so important. In my personal life, it's also important. Being the mother of a special needs child, you gotta have perseverance. You have to. It's not gonna, it's not gonna be what it could be if you don't have that. And then also like you said, mother, sister, daughter, all those things, like, you know, family relationships can sometimes be difficult, but you have to have a commitment to the people you love and persevere through those rough patches until you get to a smooth patch again. So I think again that is the word that I would use to describe both sides of the coin. Yeah. Yeah.
Well said. And Vivian, thanks so much for always chatting with me. I know that all the time I be long-winded and redundant sometimes.
I know my answers can be long, so
No, but listen, we catching up. This is what we do. We know our connection, and people can see that when watching us. They can see that.
yes, yes, yes.
And they've always loved
Exactly, too. No.
it. So Vivian, let people know where they can follow you as far as socials are concerned, the website where they can download and stream the album in case they don't have
Okay,
it.
so you can follow me at I am Vivian Green. That is everything across the board. I am very active on recently Facebook and Twitter. I mean, sorry, Facebook and Instagram. I'm probably most active on those two, just as far as responding to people. Um, and I really try to respond to like everything that I can often. So yeah, so that's the socials. Oh, and then also on my socials, that's where you find out what I'm doing, where I'm going to be, though I'm not going to be anywhere now because it's the pandemic. But
But you
you know,
will as soon as it lets up in
right,
the state.
exactly, or new music and new whatever. Like you always know what I'm doing from my socials for sure. And then you can go to viviangreenmusic.com to access the links to buy the album. But those links are also on my social media pages as well. And yeah, I think that's it.
Hey, what's up? This is your girl, Syleena Johnson, and you are checking out my boy, David Duane.
What's going on, everybody? Thank you for tuning back into On Air with your one and only rock star on the mic, the throwback millennial, just all that other good dopeness that we got going on. And right here, right now, we've got our girl, Syleena Johnson, recording artist, host, and all things amazing and philanthropist is joined with us. What's going on, Syleena? How you feeling?
What's going on, honey? I'm doing good. I can't call it. I'm just out here trusting in the Lord.
Yes. And before we got started, that's exactly what we were talking about, just trusting in the Lord and just going with what he gives you. And I gotta say, congratulations, because we haven't spoken since couples therapy, which has been 6 years. Oh my goodness.
Yes.
So I'm so proud of your growth. So first of all, congratulations on your growth as a woman and with this project Woman.
Thank you so much. Yeah, Woman is a labor of love, and it really stemmed from being on Sister Circle. Sitting next to three women, every single day, just and having to report on women. So it really kind of stemmed from there, but the energy came from there, but just my history of experience coming from, a strong coven of women in my family, and just constantly my entire career has been singing for women. Everything that I've done has been women oriented, teams, everything, has just been very women oriented. I really speak the language of us. And I just felt like, this album was very, very necessary.
It was so necessary. When I first heard it, I just heard the reason as to why this needed to be another documentary, a mini film, just like couples therapy was. And even that time, I was like, this made sense because we talked so intense like about that project. But now with this one, I'm like, you hear it. Hear it. It sounds like it needs to be that off the bat. So I'm curious, was that the initial plan of how this project was supposed to be working? Was it just more so like God's divine timing? Like, how did it all come together sonically? Because hearing it, I mean, if they haven't heard the kids, you guys got to check out Woman by Syleena Johnson.
Okay.
You will hear, and then you guys got to watch the documentary too, which was on Fox Soul. Shout out to Fox Soul.
Yes, shout out to Fox Soul and James DuBose over there, the EP. But yeah, it was definitely on purpose. So when we started, when we decided to create the Woman album, we decided simultaneously to film everything while we were doing it. So it was a whole thing. We were going to release it in some form of fashion. We didn't know it was going to be in like our special segments, you know.
Yeah.
Our initial thought was maybe a 10 episode series, you know, but we filmed it docu style because we wanted it to be a true depiction of a woman who has all these hats, that's going through all these different things while trying to get to the end goal of success, you
Yeah.
know, trying to be successful, which is not something that has a beginning and end, so to speak, but it is a state of being, to be in a state of success the entire time, you know, to continue to grow and to continue to change and to continue to elevate, and progress. You know what I'm saying? Because you could be doing busy work and just not be doing nothing, you know, just constantly doing a whole bunch of stuff that don't amount to nothing. So I wanted to show how I wore so many hats and how that's relative to women, especially Black women. We wear so many hats and still have to be career women and bring home the bacon and still come home and cook it. You know what I'm saying? We got to bring it home, then we got to cook it, then we got to feed it to the people. So I just wanted to show, you know, I wanted to inspire and empower women to let them know that, you know, while it feels unnatural at times, we should never be ashamed of or fatigued by the mindset that God has created us to do multiple things at once. You know what I'm saying? And I say that because, you know, the general aspect of a union or a relationship with a man, or just women in general, and our relationship with men, is that, you know, they take care of us, you know, they provide, we you know, we do what's inside. If you want to go the general role of a man and woman.
Yeah.
So because the roles have flipped, because the times have changed, you know, I want women to embrace the fact that we can do for ourselves. You know, I think it's scary because society has led us to believe that we shouldn't be doing for ourselves. You know what I'm saying? That a man should come in and sweep us up. Yes, a man should provide and be the leader of a family, but a woman can contribute, and she can have her own, and she can have her own businesses and have her own stuff and do her own thing and still be led in the relationship by a man, you know, and still have a leader in her household, and still she can, you know what I'm saying? And not leader like you do what I say, but just leadership. A man is to, you know, lead, be the front guy. He's the face, you know, he's the face of, you know, the company, you know. So yeah, I just really, you know, Making of a Woman is the name of the docu-series. We're working on part two. We're finishing up the editing on part two. And we just want women to be empowered, and we want Black men as well to want to empower women to do this after seeing it. You know, it's okay to be multifaceted as a woman.
Yeah, and I want to touch on that, being multifaceted as a woman, because you're a mother and you're a wife. Outside
Mm-hmm.
of being, you know, a recording artist and host, you're also a sister, you're a daughter, you're a friend. You know,
Yes.
like, all of those things are really what is a true making of a woman. So for you, and you talked about just identifying the roles, and then nowadays we do see the gender roles kind of changes like that, but men having to be at the forefront at the family, but women being at the forefront. But now we're even seeing it in society where our women do have to be at the front line, saying how they feel and making sure that it's heard, whether it's Black, white, just women as a whole.
Yeah. Um, and you know, people got to remember, you know, they just started letting us vote. You know what I'm saying? Like in 1924, you know, and that was white women.
Correct.
That was white women just, you know, fought for that right to vote. So Black women, just imagine, you know, how long it took for us to really, you know, be accepted without, but and then Black people in general, you know, without voter suppression, being in a predicament that's post civil rights, even though we're still in civil rights.
Oh yeah.
But being in a predicament where when we gained the right to vote, we still were terrorized not to vote. You know what I'm saying? So like just a complete fool. But we're always going to have to fight for positioning, which is exhausting and tiring and unnecessary. And I just hope that what we've learned and what we've seen in 4 years with this presidency and with this administration that's been in office, how stupid it is to try and stop people from having a voice, or to just try to stop people from living their lives or being themselves or living out loud or being whoever it is that they want to be. Why are we doing that? Why are we trying to stop people? Women in general. Why are you trying to stop our voices? What is that doing for the society? I mean, what does that do? What kind of fear does that come from? Because that has to be some kind of fear where you don't want women to speak up about their own bodies. Like, why did we have to go to a whole thing with Roe versus Wade? And like, we had to do a whole court thing and fight for it not to be turned over. And the Republicans are fighting to put somebody, in on the Supreme Court justice just to get it turned over. Like, why are you fighting so hard for us to not be able to make choices when it comes to ourselves or speak up for ourselves? So if there's one thing that I hope that we have learned through this pandemic, through this president's, through this administration, is how daunting and how detrimental it is to have someone in office that is biased and stops, and is trying to stop people from being their true selves, and trying to stop voices, and trying to stop movement, and you know what I'm saying, just blatantly being disrespectful and prejudiced and racist. I hope that it shows this world that we don't want that, and that we can't function that way, and that the only way that we're going to function is by cooperating with each other and loving on one another and accepting each other and allowing each other to be exactly who we want to be, and taking, not necessarily direction, but advice, or allowing conversations to ensue, even though you don't agree with that person's point of view. You know what I'm saying? Just have the hard conversations and let people speak up how they want. It's not going to kill you.
Yeah. Because I think and I'm glad you touched on that, because there is a lot of issues, whether the person be Black, white, the LGBTQ community.
Absolutely.
If they're overseas and they live, if they're in the Asian community, there is always an issue, whether with each person having a right to say what they want to say. And it's ridiculous.
And especially the LGBTQ community. I'm just so confused why people don't want the LGBTQ community to live their lives the way that they want to live. I don't know if I'm ever going to understand that. What is it about the way they live their lives that affects you? If you're not LGBTQ, fine, you know what I'm saying? But they have to live their truth, just like women have to live their truth. Black men have to live their truth. White women and white men, they've been living their truth. Yeah, everything they do is their truth. They woke up and they in their truth. But immigrants, people that come to this country, you chose to come here. Okay, so choosing to come here puts you under a certain level of another set of rules. So whatever happens in your other country, if you don't like, literally, if y'all don't like it, y'all literally could go back. We actually didn't have that choice because we didn't ask to come here. So now we couldn't go back down to the Africa. Okay. But when when immigrants come here, they come here because they do get the right to speak. They do get the freedom of speech because they get it. They know they can get it here. But what's interesting is, although this is supposed to be the land of the free world, this is supposed to be the most free world, America, it is the most judgmental, the most racist, the most prejudiced, the most divided. And that's really sad. I don't understand. If people could just report live from their own business,
mm-hmm.
we'd have the news would be better off. News would be better off. If we could just report live from our own shit, we'd be all right. Just mind your business that pays you, and then we'd be okay.
I agree. Because I'm so tired, even myself as a Black man, right? I get so tired of everybody having an opinion and minding other people's business that ain't even paying them. Focus on your focus, stay in your car, in your lane, and worry about what's going on in your house. Because guess what? 9 times out of 10, there's probably some dirty shit that's going on downstairs or upstairs
that you haven't dealt with.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we're not talking about journalism. We're not talking about, I mean, because if you are a celebrity, or if you are in the public eye, obviously what you're going to do, the moves that you make, unfortunately, we are in predicaments where we are influential to the public.
Yeah.
So what we do is subject to be judged. There's nothing we can do about that, and what we do will make news. People will talk about it. It's just like sports. It's just like anything. What we're doing in any instance, journalism is, the reporting of what's going on in the world. You know what I'm saying? And so if what you're doing is large enough to affect the world, then you will be criticized or judged by or scrutinized, by the public. But qualified journalists, people who really ask questions and not just want to talk to you to catch you up or read or get you caught up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
When you do that, Nene Leak said, you never win when you're doing dirty. Okay. So when you do that, then that's not really journalism. That's trying to break a story. That's trying to get ahead. And that's not really journalism. That's not really what we should be trying to do. We should be trying to report report as much information as we can to inspire and empower. You know what I'm saying? So not in that instance, but just in general. If you have to, let's just say you do an interview with me, and while we doing this interview, and we have this in-depth conversation, we talk about all kinds of stuff. But then when the interview's over, it's like, oh, okay, Syleena and I talked about this. Syleena and I talked about that. Tune in, and then let the interview speak for itself. But after that, it should be on to the next interview. You know what I'm saying? I shouldn't be paying all up in your business. You all up in my, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I just think that, we need to be more open to allowing people to live their lives. And we got to cancel this. There's 2 things that get on my nerve. Okay. Now I'm getting old. I'm 44 years old.
You getting young. You ain't getting old.
I'm getting young, but I'm getting old in here. And I'm getting old in here. Yeah. 2 things that wear me to the low. Cancel culture gets on my nerves, and reading, people that say I didn't read, the reading culture, where they want to read somebody down to the floor. Those 2 things wear me to the low. In the Black community, here's why. First of all, Black people don't have it ain't enough of us to be canceling no damn body.
We need to stop that right where it began.
All our people, okay?
Yeah. We need to say, united we stand, period.
And we need to just take the people that's a fool, slap shit out of them, check them inside the house, inside, and then send them on back out into the world. The reading and all of that, okay. I don't condone, somebody bullying you or picking on you, and then you just sit there and you take it. But there has to be some level of elevation where at 40 some years old, I'm not getting ready to show up to every single argument that I'm invited to, especially when it don't have nothing to do with my bills. It's not going to take food out my mouth. It's not going to kill my kids. You're not going to kill my husband. You didn't sleep with my husband. It has to really be something to the point where I should be fighting. We should be fighting for rights. You want to read somebody, go ahead and read this here president. You want to read somebody, go here, read your elected officials. You want to read somebody, go down to the school board and read the school board about different things and different programs that should be implemented in our community. That's where we should be reading, folks. Reading each other makes us look weak.
Yeah. And
it makes us look like we have a low EQ. And I've been one to read and all of that, and it doesn't do anything after that. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't help. It just breaks hearts. It breaks relationships, and it lives forever. You know what I'm saying? It lives forever, and it hurts forever. Until there's a level of forgiveness that has to be, has to happen between the parties. But I just don't think that is something that we should look forward to and subscribe to as a culture, because moving forward, again, after all that we've seen with Black men dying, we have got to understand that people don't care about us. So we have to love and care about ourselves more. You know what I'm saying? And canceling and reading and all that shit, that's only gonna divide us more. Now you can get somebody together,
Yeah,
if you have to get
there's a
somebody
difference.
together,
Yeah,
you
it's a
can get them together.
difference. Yeah. Well,
But the read culture and all that, that's dumb. That's played out. And it's immature.
it's super immature. I try to tell people all the time, what is reading somebody going to do? You can speak, stand your ground, speak your truth. And I'm all here for that because I be wanting to read people, Syleena, but I say that's not gonna end too good because then I'm gonna get myself worked up. I'm gonna I'm gonna be glad that I did it, but I'm gonna be mad that I did it also because I wasted my time and energy what I done, which is killed them with kindness and ignored them and kept it pushing.
Let me tell you something. Ignore brings more. And I'll tell you, don't spend major space on minor shit. I'm telling you. And ask yourself every time, is it going to matter 5 years from now? If it's not going to matter 5 years from now, don't spend 5 minutes on it. It's just that simple. You have to have a higher EQ. And I get it. People will push your buttons, they'll catch you off guard. You know what I'm saying? They catch you on a bad day and you lose it and stuff. But I work on that all the time because I don't want to be the type of person that every little thing somebody say, I can't control my emotions. I can't, when I can't control them, I give you the power to have them. I give you the power to have them. So now anything could come out my mouth. Or, I know how to get real ugly. So if I go below the belt, now we in a contest, how low can you go? Then you say something you can't take back. Now the relationship is unsalvageable. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Now you done messed up a friendship, probably you done have 15, 16 years. What is it all worth in the end? So at the end of the day, I just think, Black people, we got to do better with the cancel culture and the read culture. Like, take for instance, Lil Wayne. Lil Wayne is out here, first of all, looking a fool. That's first out the gate. Looking a fool. And then talking like a fool. Okay, that's fine. You do your thing. How is what you gonna say gonna hurt me? You know what I'm saying? It's wrong. I'm gonna speak on it. I don't agree. But just because I don't agree with you in the way that you move doesn't mean that you're canceled from Black culture. And furthermore, no, you're not canceled because white people don't get to have our people. You don't get to have them. I'm sorry. They're ours. We created them. We put them on the map, and then you saw them and found them and then thought they were good, but they were always ours and they always will be with us. Right. So I don't like cancel culture because you give your people, we giving our people, we getting rid of our people. So you only leave them in a predicament where they have to go somewhere else to survive. Right. It's weird. It's like reverse segregation. It's weird. It's like, we gonna put you outside at a playground. It's just stupid. It's childish. No, we don't want people to take our leaders. We don't want people to take our loved ones, the ones that our leaders in hip hop, our leaders in music, our leaders in R&B, our leaders in the press, our leaders in. No, they have a right to an opinion. Yeah, we can listen to it, and we have a right to disagree. And keep it moving. Like, it's just very simple, but they don't need to be canceled. You don't always got to read somebody. You always got to cuss somebody out. And I'm going to tell you, it's so much energy, like you said. After you finish spending all that energy, you be so tired. Because then you got to wait, because then they're going to come back. So then you got to come back. It's just they're doing the most.
You be wasting a whole damn afternoon just trying to.
A whole afternoon.
Like, okay, how do I one up on this person? And I just be sitting there sometimes, Syleena, be like, you know what? I'm going to just say this very nicely. I'm going to put this in an email, and I'm going to brief it in the text, and then I'm going to keep it like this, set my boundaries, and then walk away from it.
And that's it.
Myself.
That's it. I said what I said. And be very professional with it, and very, very clear cut, and keep it moving. There's no reason. And then when you see, like, this is something I do. When I see somebody, if I'm in an email or a text, and I see the text go left, I stop. And this is what I do to them the next time I hear from them. You sent that message? For real? I didn't get that. I didn't get no message. You never respond. Because here's what happens.
Smart.
They read it back.
Mm-hmm.
They feel a way that you didn't say nothing. But then now they've worked themselves down. So if you talk to them tomorrow, they will approach it different. It's been time. Time has passed. They'll work it out. And then get on the phone with them. You send a message. I thought your phone, my phone didn't get that message. Mm-hmm. Then they'll express themselves verbally. And then you'll be able to express yourself verbally, and it'll be a better understanding. A lot of time, text messaging and messages and stuff like that, they don't have the right, they don't always read with the proper tone. You can't really determine what kind of tone is behind it. So if something looks like it's gonna go left, sometimes I'll step away, because then too, I have to ask myself, okay, is that you tripping? How are you taking it? You know what I'm saying? What has happened to you today, where you're in a place where this might just look different today? This ain't hitting right today. Anything could come through and it ain't hitting right. So sometimes, or like if you're on the phone with somebody and they start talking crazy, I tell you, my phone is acting a fool today. If you're on the phone with somebody and they start talking crazy, sometimes I'll just hang up. Mm-hmm. And then when they call back, I won't answer. And they'd be like, what happened? What happened? And or I'll text and go, I don't know what's going on with my phone. I can't call. It's not calling. It dropped and I can't call.
Right. Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
God, something.
And then in that instance, maybe they needed to step back and type their message, because then when they look at it, they might see it's a fool and then be like, okay, wait, let me read it. Sometimes you gotta just stop stuff straight away, if you don't, especially if you don't know how to handle it.
And think.
Mm-hmm.
Because you don't always have to react at that moment. Sometimes you have to collect yourself first, and then that person needs to collect themselves.
Yes.
I've been in situations like that, even just this past weekend, where I was like, let me do this, like I was saying, set my boundaries. Because if I don't do this, first of all, one thing was I got off the phone immediately. I said, okay, let me get my little ass off the phone, because I need to start talking out of emotion. Because sometimes emotion is the passion there too. So you got to sometimes draw back and say, you know what? Give me 30 minutes. Let me collect myself.
Yep.
And I hit you back, and we can have a conversation.
Yep.
Sometimes you have to do it because you want to make yourself look crazy.
Yeah. And not only that, you want to be heard, and you want to hear them. And sometimes they might have a point, and there's nothing wrong with being like, okay, I see your point. However, reason why I don't agree with that point is because, and then just have like a conversation. Like, why we just can't have conversations no more? We don't do that no more. Like, where people just talk about stuff like, well, why did you do that? Oh, well, I did that because I thought such and such. Well, why would you think that? You should have just asked me. Like, why we can't just have.
They don't want to talk it out no more. They
don't do that.
They just want to, a situation go left. There's no reconciling being the age that you are and stuff like that. And then seeing it from a younger generation. How do you view that when seeing the situations where we could just take the moment to reconcile versus when we don't? And sometimes maybe in your cases, in your generation as well too. Because I feel like that's the lines can definitely be blurred a lot of times.
Well, you have to understand, there is a level of decency, not even decency, I won't use that word. There's a level of fear and upbringing, or what is the word I'm looking for? Okay, so when we were coming up, we didn't have social media, which meant we didn't have immediate access to people. It took time. You had to go put a quarter in a phone, dial it up, call. Possibly if they have call waiting, you could, somebody could click over and you could talk to the person possibly. But I grew up in a time where call waiting became something new. So when I was little, if you called and the phone was busy, that's it. If somebody was on the phone, it's just busy. You know what I'm saying? Also, it didn't reach. It took a lot of effort to even get in communication with somebody unless it was one-on-one.
Absolutely.
So you have to understand, there's more tact, there's more couth when approaching someone from our generation, because a lot of times that sad lip, you get your ass whooped because you talking to the person. You see what I'm saying? So there is no, I can talk crazy on a computer and you'll never see who I am, or you'll never get to talk. There's none of that, because everything was either one-on-one, or you went out of your way. You had to go so far to be able to call a person and do all that. Nobody's calling a person to do all of that back then, because first of all, when you were younger, you couldn't even be on the phone like that. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't no cell phones, you know what I'm saying? Unless you had a burner, you know what I'm saying? You was a drug dealer, you know. So we didn't have all of that, all of these lines of communication to be able to be reckless with. You know what I'm saying? So my generation, there is a level of couth and a level of decency where we understand, if you know, we're less susceptible to come at people, because in our day, if you come at somebody, that's a fight.
Correct.
You see what I'm saying? Because you're one-on-one. So you have to understand what we're used to. We're used to having face-to-face interaction all the time.
Right.
Whereas your generation has grown up in social media. You grew up in cell phones and social media and computer. You know, I remember the E-machine, you know, that was the birth, you know, where you did like the chat rooms and all that stuff. We didn't even have computers. You know what I'm saying? We didn't even have them. I didn't get a computer until I got to college, you know. So you guys have automatic access to be whoever you want to be, whenever, however. You can be the ugliest or the prettiest or the richest or the poorest or whatever you want to be,
Right.
and to whoever you want to be at any time. And I think that it has created a lot of hurt people. And so hurt people. And so when you're hurt and you're conflicted already, and you don't have the skills to talk it out face to face, because that's something that we had to develop. You know, when we were little, we fought. The next day we'd be friends. You know what I'm saying? That'll never happen with this new generation. That doesn't work like that. No. You fight in this new generation, you might come back, you might have a bat. The next day you might come back and then possibly have a gun. You know what I'm saying? So you all don't have the skill to be able to talk things out, because you have not been in predicaments where you had to. You understand? I can bully somebody in a computer and never have to see them. You know what I'm saying? So you have a lot of hurt individuals. And what happens when you're hurt? You're defensive.
Yeah.
So now you've adapted this mindset that I have to defend myself. And that's why your generation is quicker to go off on anybody at any given time. However, the upside to your generation is that in times of protest, in times of social injustice, you didn't come up in a time where you were suppressed to do that.
Right.
So to you, oh, hell to the no. Breonna Taylor, we're going out there. You know, exactly. There is no fear as far as that's concerned. It's not right. Why it's not right? Why y'all ain't, for y'all, it's like, no. Because you don't know about not drinking in certain water fountains. You didn't grow up, you know, where white folks didn't want you, you know, in the 80s, all our movies was 2 Black people in the whole movie. You know what I'm saying? You grew up in an era of Black movies, you know, you grew up in an era where you can do anything through social media. You can go anywhere through social media, you know. So I think that your fear levels as far as that is concerned, because they weren't as suppressed as ours were, you know, and even with parenting, you know, y'all grew up with time out and, you know, beating kids is psychologically terrible, which I do believe that it is. Oh, yeah. But we got beat. We got beat to death and hell to the no and shut up because I said so and all of that. We come from the "cause I said so" era. You all get to ask questions and get answers. You know, I have full conversations with my 13-year-old. Full. I have to now. Yeah. Because he has to be educated in this day and age or he's going to be behind. You know what I'm saying? Okay. So I think I think that's the difference. And I think what's even worse is our generation is looking at your generation and going backwards. Some of us are going backwards to be able to, you see what I'm saying? To be able to stay relevant. You know, so we're reading and being stupid at 40s and 50s to stay popping and relevant with your generation. When what we should be doing is trying to blend the two to where it's a little bit of that and a little bit of this.
True. And to most importantly, be an example and to keep that standard there.
Yeah.
That all the reading and the cancel culture. First of all, a lot of our media, we won't even name them because some of them we love, some of them were just like SMH.
Mm-hmm.
Our Black media is at the forefront of making the shit worse.
Yeah. When we could be the very thing that makes it better.
Right.
Because, you know, cultures in general look to us for what's popping, for what's hot.
Yeah.
We are the leaders in everything. And we don't know it. And this is why we can't lead, because this is why we don't lead, because we don't know that we have leadership. We don't know that we're leading.
Right.
It's like we running in a race, and the people in the race in front of us are the race that we trying to beat. But in our race, we already winning. But we don't even know we're winning because we're so busy trying to win a race that's on another side of the track that we're not even in. So I think that, you know, we just have to do the best we can to empower and change our narrative and still keep it fun, you know, and funny. And I think we could do it, but I don't know. It's just very difficult because everybody's mindset is not going to change. You could just forget it.
It definitely isn't. I want to also talk about that learning process that you learned as a host and now being able to apply that and just the research aspect of it. Like, how was that? And then being able to see things now from this perspective, even a lot more, you know, just kind of, and just, you know, because, you know, Sister Circle hosting and just kind of seeing what that looks like as a woman. And then now being with Fox Soul, where things are completely a lot different in that hosting space. There's a lot of freedom. There's a lot of, you can say this versus you can't.
Yeah. Well, I think that it educated me more as a person. It made me more aware as a mom, as a wife, as an entertainer. We're very insulated. You know, we're very insulated within our team and everything, because there's so many pieces, moving parts inside of my team, from the musicians to the management to the label to the this, that we can sometimes shut out things that are going on in our world and be disassociated because we're so inundated with the things that are going on inside of our close quarters, you know? So being on the other side of that couch is what I like to call it. When you're on the other side of the couch, there's a certain amount of research that you have to do in order to even talk to the people, you know, that would normally be on your side of the couch.
Yeah.
And as an artist, I never wanted to be the type of interviewer where I didn't know anything about them. So I made it my business to know something, even if it was 2 or 3 specific things. I didn't want them to ever feel like they were not important, because I know from being on their side, on that side of the couch, what it feels like when somebody don't know nothing about you and they ask you questions. Tell me about yourself.
You're like, wait, what?
What you mean? You tell me about myself.
You tell me. You intro me.
Right. You tell me about myself, you know. So I never wanted that. So it helped me to be more caring, more in tune with societal issues and viewpoints and how they pertain to me as a woman, on all levels. And, you know, it helped me to be able to monitor and censor myself, because my normal talking is very much like Cocktails with Queens.
Yeah.
That's how I talk on a day-to-day basis. Okay. I'm very much that, you know, I grew up in a family that cursed a lot. I get my curse on from time to time. But I also am intelligent enough and intellectual enough where I can be on a show like Sister Circle,
Yes.
and not use absolutely one curse word, because I know how to talk and I'm not stupid. I'm educated. You know, a lot of times they say people that curse not educated. Well, that's not me.
Yeah.
I like cursing sometimes because I just like where it roll off my tongue, or like, you know, how it hit on your passion different.
With a curse word is so much better understood. Everybody don't like that, can't understand the niceness. You gotta.
I can't. If I say to my son, stop doing that, I'm gonna knock your teeth out. Okay, that's cool. But if I say stop it before I knock your goddamn teeth out, that's a whole nother, it's a different.
Yes, it's
it
hard.
hit different. You know what I'm saying? It hit different. So, you know, so or if I'm in a joke form and you need to use curse words for joking, you know, sometimes it's funnier. But you know, it teaches you how to role play. It teaches you how to go in and out. I think you have to be pretty intelligent to be able to do both. And I think that not everybody, you know, wants to be in a place where they're very stringent and they're very strict and buttoned up all the time. A lot of times people do want to let their hair down, you know, and communicate freely the way that they want to do it. Right. I think that Cocktails with the Queens is awesome and it's fun because first of all, it's 1 hour in my house, sitting on the couch, child, and just talking to my good girlfriends about just whatever, you know. And it's fun too because you don't have to house the responsibility of having to say everything. You know what I'm saying? Like Music Mondays, I have to be the one to you know, navigate the conversation, and really be able to come up with new questions in the moment, even if the questions that I have prepared, if they answer them, you know, then I have to come up with a new one. You know how it is. So with Cocktails with the Queens, you're sharing the platform. So you show up, you look pretty, you get a couple punchlines in, you say a couple of concepts, and you just really enjoy the show, you know, for me, because I talk all day on other stuff. You know what I'm saying? Then I got kids. I'm talking to them all day. So Cocktails with the Queens allows me to have a place of fun and really listen to other women and their stories. Yeah. And comment when necessary. That's another thing. You ain't always got to talk. You don't always got to be the star. You know, a lot of times there's power in silence and listening, you know, so.
And I tell people, you got to play your position and know when to play it. That is the
and key. Be okay with it.
Yep. Because that is one of the things that my generation, and I'm gonna say it just like this, because the kids, and I'm gonna call them kids, they got to hear
children. Mm-hmm.
They got it fucked up.
Yeah, they do. Mm-hmm. They do, and it's the culture. It's the cancel, read, drag culture. It's a fool. It is a fool. And at first, it's like, you know, you laughing, somebody get dragged. If you dragging Trump, okay, that's funny to me. But only if you are another intellectual and you get him together, then it's like if you Maxine Waters and you drag Trump, that's fun. You know what I'm saying? If you Nancy Pelosi and you getting him together, I'm here, I live for that. Right. But if you just, you know, dragging a celebrity because you ain't like what they said, they outfit or something, like that's played out. Don't nobody care. And at the end of the day, it's gone in 3 days.
Next person is doing too.
Yeah, it's gone in 3 days. So, you know, in some instances it's fun and all that, you know, where it matters was, you know, but in most instances it's bullying. Yeah. And it's doing too much. And we have to be more mindful of that. But I love the fact that I'm able to, that God has allowed me to be on both platforms. Yeah. Because I think I can bring a little sister circle, you know, of that buttoned up, very, you know, because we were like a hybrid. We had to do a lot of research. We had debriefings. Our executive producer was a journalist major. She was a journalist. She had a master's in journalism, you know, all of that. She was a journalist. She worked for news stations, you know, and then a lot of our producers were journalist majors. You know, Rashawn Ali was a journalist major. So we were a very journalist inspired show, very journalist, but because you had me and Quad, you know, that's kind of funny and like, you know, firecrackers. Yeah. We gave that personality and gave it, you know, in such a way where you can have that kind of personality with facts. You know what I'm saying? Facts and data and research. Like we were not even allowed to speak on certain issues unless we quoted. It was very APA style. When I tell you, it was very APA. Like we would have to say, according to the Huffington Post, such and such and such.
If we a lot, yeah,
we had to do that on Sister Circle. Where Cocktails with the Queens, I'd be like, somebody said
Somebody said, this is what I heard.
one of these news
here.
people.
Right.
Yeah, one of these news outlets said. You can say it because with Cocktails with the Queens, it's supposed to be synonymous to how you would be with your girlfriends.
Yeah.
And you might not, you ain't gonna be in no conversation with your girlfriends like, yes. And the Washington Post, according to the Washington Post, there have been 12 cases in the rising of the pandemic. You know, nobody's doing that. You're gonna be like, yeah, that one newspaper in that's Washington, they said that the coronavirus is rising down to Washington, D.C. Like, that's
exactly how the delivery is going to be.
It's going to be like, yeah, because in New York, they back turning up, girl. They back out. They got to wear masks again. That's how we're going to talk. We're not going to be very, so I like the fact that I'm able to bring a little bit of that to Sister Circle, but then it also allows me to be very unbuttoned, if you will.
And I love that. So these two questions, and then I want to go back and talk about the project, of course, because like I said, everybody, you got to stream and download Woman. But this conversation that we're having is so great, and I'm loving where we're taking it. But we were talking about the preparation that a personality has to do before the interview. So I'm curious, how annoying as hell, just so that the record is set, because I want people to understand that when you're doing interviews, because I love having my interviews be conversations. I don't like boop, 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 boop.
Right.
Question. And it's so important for you, like you said, for them to know who you are, to make sure that intro is right. Mm-hmm. But from you seeing it on both sides, how much more important would you say it is now, realizing both sides of the couch?
How much more important is what? Getting the person's
doing that research.
Oh, it's very important. Not just to, honor the guest and show your appreciation for the guest time, but it's also important because you don't want your public to be misinformed. You don't want your audience to be misinformed. So you don't have time to be bumbling over facts, right. Because then now they'll get distracted about, with the fact that you bumbling over facts. Whereas if you know your questions, it's just question, boom. And then now we're engaged in the answer. Now your guests, your viewers are engaged in the answer. You know what I'm saying? Which is what you want them to be. So it's just important to be as informed as possible, because first of all, no one will take you seriously if you don't. Mm-hmm. No one will come back. I want to come back to your show, if I'm thinking, and I'm not talking about the guests, I'm talking about the viewers. Exactly. I want to come back to the site or to that interview or to that person's show, even if their guest is not that great. I know I might learn something from them,
and that is super key.
Mm-hmm. Or I might be inspired by them. Like, there's someone that will buy into you as a personality. People just love my input, so they might just come anyway just to hear me say what it is that I have to say,
right?
And not so much even the guest. So it's important to allow yourself to become a personality as well.
Yeah.
But an informed one.
Right. Because that has to shine through. And I try to express that on this show. And when I do IG lives, it's like they're just talking to people, just being an open book, right? Because I feel like once you are in the spotlight of some sort, you have to be an open book. You got to drop these gems. You can't just keep them all in. And I try to tell people, you have to show your personality and let that shine through. Don't just do it just to do it. Have purpose in doing it. Yeah.
Because someone's going to relate to you. Someone's like, I'm just like him, or I'm just like her. I like them because they just like me, Exactly. So now they come back every time because they want your point of view on whoever you talk to about whatever topic. You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh. And so just going back to Woman in this album, you talked about so many different topics, and Freelance Lover is one of my favorites. I just love the concept, the vibe of it. And you've got so many different, like you really took people through a story. And not only could women relate to this, but men, there was definitely some songs like this record that men could relate to as well. But with this record, if we can just talk about the concept, because I really think, like, for anybody that has not heard the album, this is definitely one of the top 4, I would say, is like an immediate after Woman that they need to listen to right away.
Well, thank you very much, first of all. And yes, I wanted to speak from a woman's heart on different concepts, different issues that we talk about. I like to say it is the soundtrack of a woman's heart. So whatever that we're, if you take, for instance, long time ago, there's always somebody that come back into your life after you done left and went on about your business. And you have to be like, dang, it's always the one that I'm talking about, that one person in your life that just is the one, but it didn't work out and it still hurt. You know what I'm saying?
Right now.
But you try to move on, and you didn't went on about your business. And then when you finally go about your business, here they come. That's when they come, when you didn't finally, because that's God testing you to see how far about your business you done went. But the song, that was a long time ago. It's just a reminder, for women, like, that was a long time ago. I would die, I would fight if somebody told me that I would never have you again, because that was to show, how deep in love I was. But then now I'm actually in a place of peace, and I've moved on. So that's a piece of a woman's heart. Being in a place where they've moved on. It's probably a lot of women who haven't gotten there yet. Yeah. That's the song you listen to reassure yourself that you will get to that point. You know what I'm saying? And then there's I'm a Believer. Believer is a song about a woman worshiping a man down, sexually, emotionally, because I want women to know that it's okay to worship your man, like to really love on him and to really praise him and be like, you the bomb and you this, it's nothing wrong with that. When you love a man and he's loving you back and he's worthy, give it to him. You know what I'm saying? Or like Mountains. You love me higher than you which is my jam.
It's my jam.
That's my jam.
Everything on that.
Yes. Mountains is, the highest love a man can love you at. You love me deep like the ocean and high are the mountains, and that's a woman, like when a woman is in love, or like when a woman is fed up and she's in a relationship with a man that she loves, but she needs him to understand, nigga, I deserve more.
Yes.
These are the things, that is what you like how you say, that is setting boundaries. I deserve more than the universe, more even when it hurts, more than the way you lie, more than the way I cry. I deserve more than this. That's her setting boundaries. Again, another piece of her heart.
And when you with that record, let me stop you right there for 1 second.
Do your thing.
I felt that to the core, especially with seeing my mom in the relationships that she's been in the marriage and stuff like that, and just understanding why it took her as many marriages as it did. So just because she deserved more as a woman, and every woman deserves more. And as men, we have to take accountability to say, I fucked up. You deserve more. This is how I'm going to fix those bad behaviors that I've done in the past, so that nobody has to go through this, or that you don't have to go through this. And it's about that accountability. Absolutely.
And it also says, I'm not necessarily leaving you.
Yep.
But I am setting the boundaries. So the Woman album is all, freelance lover. Oh, okay. He's just a freelance lover, girl. He just one of them dudes that he like turning up, he just like, and it's not even personal to you. That's a record that lets a woman know, oh, okay, I see what kind of man he is. I still might date him. I might go out with him, but he ain't getting ready to be my husband. We have to be in a mindset of that too. It's okay to have fun with guys and date guys, but just understand that they're not the one. It's fine. It's a thing called friendships in this world that you can value. You never know who he will be in your life later. So it's just it's just an album full of heartfelt messages from how we feel. It's the soundtrack of our heart. This is how we be feeling on stuff, and sometimes we can't say it. Like, there's so many women that don't want to worship their man in public because they feel like somebody would think you sweating him, or you stupid because you loving on your man and you worshiping your man. You a dummy, you all of that, you putting out. That's why a lot of women don't say a lot of stuff all the time, because we're afraid of what other people will think or how we'll be crucified. Like the record Woman. You know, I just that's a read.
So
You know,
powerful.
that's a read. You know,
Yeah.
but in a way that matters. You know, for what we want. You
Not only
know, so
was it a read, but it was a testimony.
yeah,
And I think,
and that's what I mean by having a read. If you're gonna read somebody, read this world, read the people that need to be read. Don't be out here just picking random folk and going off of them on the social media. That's played out.
yeah, it really is played out. And how close are we to the second part of the documentary?
Well, it's almost done. Well, it's done, but we just need to finish up like little stuff like captions and things of that nature. As far as when it's going to air, I'm not sure, because we're still trying to, figure that part out. But it's almost done, so it'll be ready and within the next week or so, and then we'll decide, what's going to happen with it next. But it's really not my decision. It will be the decision of Fox Soul, if they're the ones that are going to um, go, follow through with being a home for it. So,
And when you think about what exemplifies you as a woman and as a woman that's also in this business, what are those things that you think about? Like, what comes to mind?
I wear so many hats. I think I think that's what exemplifies me. The fact that I can navigate in a lot of different rooms. God has made me the type of person. Well, I'm an empath, first of all.
Yeah.
So I'm able to understand a lot of different situations and a lot of people. I can understand people, whatever language that is that they have, body language, heart language. I have a very strong discernment. So I think that my willingness and ability to understand beyond what society allows us to see is a gift that I'm able to use in my music, when I'm a talk show host, in all facets of my life, as a mom, as a wife, as a friend, as a sister, as a daughter. I'm able to understand, have understanding, because there's not a lot of people who are able to do that.
Yeah, no.
My father's one of them. He just does not have it. But I'm able to understand him even, and he's impossible. And so I think that's what exemplifies me. I don't want to say I'm a strong, I hate that.
Yeah.
Don't give me that, because every time you say Black women strong, that gives you an excuse to pour more shit on us. We don't have time for that. We ain't strong. No. We denouncing that shit. We ain't strong. Okay, we sick of it. We're capable, and strong in a different way. Yeah. But strong is not a woman thing. It's not a Black woman thing. Strong is a Black people thing. We're durable. We're resilient. We're strong because you've tested our strength for many, many, many years. So obviously we've been lifting mental and emotional weights for about 500-600 years. So of course we're strong. That goes without saying.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would just say, that I'm the type of person that is able to navigate in any room. I can move in any place you put me. I can mesh well with the richest of the rich, to the poorest of the poor, to the unfortunate, to the disabled, to the whatever. I have no prejudice, even a racist. I mean, I could sit and have a conversation with a racist person and be talking normal.
Yeah.
I don't have, I mean, I have my views, about what I believe, but I can understand every level.
Yeah. And well said too. And you definitely hit every key on the nose, because you can literally move in any room, from being a parent, a sister, a daughter, like you said, like all the things that we said. And I just got to say, congratulations once again, Syleena, because like you kill it in every single way. I appreciate you in this conversation, because we was talking for some time, but you know what? This was a good catch-up conversation, and I hope that everybody continues to support you in all your endeavors, and they get the album Woman, they check out the documentary, they look out for the virtual tour, and just everything that you're doing, because you're utilizing your voice and you're utilizing it in such an impactful way, just like you said, being an impact.
Yeah. And my goal because I understand a lot of stuff and I seek it, I seek understanding. It's
Right.
on purpose. So it's not just going to conversations or going to situations and I automatically understand, I seek it.
Yeah.
So I always get it because of that. And my goal is to communicate in such a way that I initiate it, that I initiate understanding, and that I am also a beacon of that. I am you know what I'm saying? I don't want to be sitting up talking about stuff I don't know what I'm talking about. Even if I make a mistake, I still want it to be informative. I still want to push someone, move someone. I want to be the one. I want to be a person that every time I talk, I say something that sticks with someone forever. I don't want to be the type of person that is adding to an already empty ass space. I want to fill a space. I don't want to just be in the space. You know what I'm saying? So I like talking. I like communicate. I'm a communicator.
Yeah.
All my interviews always go over. They always do, but only if the other person is a communicator too.
Right.
You're a communicator. So, this type of shit is fun to you. This fun. We just sit here turning up.
Right.
But it's not like we had a conversation that was stupid. We had an educated, moving, progressive, enlightening conversation about stuff that is interesting to a lot of people right now, especially people that's locked down in the pandemic. You know what I'm saying? So that's all you want to be at the end of the day, somebody that can inspire and motivate somebody else. And I want to be someone who can recognize inspiration in others.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that it ain't just me talking all the time. Like, I want to be inspired too. I want to be empowered too. So I look for that as well wherever I go. I try to take from every instance all the time. I always look for God everywhere I go. I look for him, in everything, in you, in me, in everything. Something I said, even it could touch me, retouch me. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You have been in a situation where you talking to somebody and you go, oh, I said that. and then
yes.
You fix your damn self.
All the time. I'd be like, I didn't say that again. Oh, that was a message and a word for
I said that. Okay.
It happens all the time. But when you have that feeling, that it's so meant to be. And that there was no mistake in that action or what was delivered to you. And it was true value.
I'm trying to tell you, I just said something that just touched me. It just hit me again. I look for God.
Yeah.
I didn't realize I do that until just now. I be looking for him subconsciously in conversation. What I mean by that is, how you could be in a conversation or interview with somebody and and you could tell what the tonality of the conversation is going to be as soon as you start talking to them.
Exactly. Yeah.
So you be like, oh, okay. Like, let's say you sit down with Iyama. You already know she's getting ready to drop 9 beloveds and I'm getting ready to get delivered. Okay.
Yes.
So you start looking for God, meaning you start looking for messages that pertain to your self-help and your progression and growth.
Yeah.
You start looking for, even if it's not positive, you know what I'm saying? Even if they hit you over the head with, you're hard on yourself and you need to do better with doing this, that, and the third, you still know that could be God.
Yeah.
So I look for him. And that's deep for me. I'm gonna have to go sit on that because we beat ourselves up. I know I do a lot about not being close enough to him as I should be. But the truth is, you're looking for him all day. You're seeking him all day. And if the Bible says, seek ye first the kingdom and all things shall come unto you, then I am seeking him.
Right.
I just killed myself with that. That's what I'm saying. There's more than one way to seeking him. It's not just about the word of God, the book, the Bible. You can seek him in a lot of different places.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to have a conversation with my girl H.E.R on that because that's deep. We just went deep.
When you do, tell H.E.R I said, hey.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to call H.E.R on that and be like, girl, let me tell you what I was. That was deep. We went to the bottom. Yeah.
Yeah. And you know what though? But you recognizing that is so important because so many people look for God in so many different ways. And I look for God in people's heart and in my heart still as I go on each and every day because it's important to know that he's there because it's apparent that he is, but just knowing that he's there, his energy is always surrounds us.
Yes.
It's the most divine power ever.
It's outrageous. And the fact that I just, realize that that's going to be something that I'm going to start asking people. How do you look for God? Mm-hmm. We already know the obvious. Do you go to church? Okay, you go to church, you go and you read the Bible. But do you go in your closet? Do you look for him there? Do you go into your car and look for him in there? Are you looking for him in conversations? Are you looking for him in your work, on stage? I look for him so much. And when I sit here think, I really seek him all the time. It's very strange. Wow. That's deep. It's subconscious because I never really thought about it that way. You always think if it's not the Bible and if it's not going to church, then I'm not seeking him enough.
Right, because that's the stigma they like to put out there. That's there,
right?
Which is not true.
But that's how society has made us believe that the only way that you have to go to church, you have to pay a tithe, and you have to read the Bible.
Right.
That's seeking God. No, that ain't. That's not the only way you can seek him. Wow. Come on. Thank you, Jesus, for that revelation. Come on, God.
Thank you. Because
my God.
He came through.
He just definitely did. He just put a cherry on this on the end.
He did, and I'm so grateful that today he blessed us to speak to each other today, just to catch up and have this amazing conversation. And like I said, congratulations, Syleena, and thank you so much.
Thank you
for just always, because every time we talk, we just vibe just like this.
We just go deep because we don't listen. I don't swim in the shallow. Okay. I'm too tall to swim in the shallow. Okay. I'm 5'10". I got to swim in the deep. I don't swim in the shallow.
Yeah. So Syleena, let people know where they can follow you just in case on socials. They might be following the fake people because they create them fake pages out there, but let them know all the official.
Well, there's definitely some fake pages, but you just have to look and see if there's a blue check mark. Yeah. Period. If it's not a blue check mark, it's not me. I'm most of the time I answer my own stuff. Most of the time. There are some times where my sister will be doing my page sometimes because I get lazy on posting. And I do know that you do have to post more. But you can follow me at Syleena Johnson on Instagram, Syleena Johnson Official on Facebook. All of these have blue check marks. Twitter, blue check marks. Syleena_Johnson. And my website is SyleenaMusic.com. Please sign up for my subscriptions on my Facebook page. And my Music Mondays are now going to move to Facebook. But until then, you can see that on Mondays at 2 p.m. Eastern on my IG Live. And then, of course, Cocktails with the Queens is tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern on Fox Soul, www.foxsoul.tv, or you go to the YouTube page and see it there, or download the app, the Fox Soul app. And then just follow, all things Syleena, just follow all things Syleena for more updates on what I'll be doing and stuff. So, yeah, just always moving and grooving.
All right, you guys, and we are back, and that was our interviews with Syleena Johnson, Vivian Green, and Stacey Ervin Jr. OMG. I didn't even say, oh my goodness, I said OMG this time. But guys, thank y'all so much for tuning into the show. Shout outs to Stacey, Vivian, and Syleena for these amazing conversations that we had on tonight's show. Listen, I was so excited to deliver these interviews with you guys because, like I said, we did this back in November. So, listen, it was worth the wait for you guys to see, but it's the best of the best of the best. We just continue to keep bringing it to y'all. And next week, we're going to have 7 Streeter, Bryce Xavier, and Rebel Ray joined on the show with us. So make sure that you guys tell a friend that we do our weekly show every Tuesday, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're doing IG Live until July. Okay, you guys? And that's Monday and Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6 Pacific Time. So don't miss us. If you guys got Dear Duane questions, again, email info at onairwithdavid.com. Hit me up at David Duane or at On Air with David, whichever you prefer. Continue to stay safe, you guys. Be blessed. I hope you guys have a great rest of the week. I'm excited for next week. I'm excited for what we have to come. Listen, y'all, some dope things are in store. So God bless, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Later.